So I'm back and we're going to try adding some annotations. I've learned a couple of things. One, I really don't like spending hours and hours editing my videos, so I'm going to work my hardest during recording not to break while I'm speaking. Another thing that I realized is that I really enjoy making these. I think it's very fun, even though it might take me longer. So here we are. I added all of my estimates to the wiki. You can see here I have by number of features, basically args, props, default props, or by number of lines. I want to add my actual times to these. Let's dive in. So I'm going to start with the simplest files first, button.js. I have a little timer up here that I'm going to start with. Add flow. We got flow running. Parameter props, missing annotation. So this is the reason why I focused on estimates based on the number of props. So let's go ahead, and what we're going to do is that we're going to take this out and sort of put this up here. We're going to define const default props. Okay, we're going to convert this prop types to get rid of this warning here. Because sometimes you have to push and pull to satisfy both ESLint and flow. We have 100% coverage, 727. Constants is next. It's 100% covered. Now this is actually interesting because the underlying editor object is not covered. So in order to have this file covered by flow, editor itself needs to be covered by flow. So this is going to be the last thing that we can do. Editable line, we've already got 85% coverage, and we actually had already added some flow typing. So I'm going to look up flow annotations in React Native. It looks like there's no annotations attached to this file, at least. This is sufficient. You can define your own types for externally defined structures. There's also things like flow typed available. Let's look up similar information for onChange text. Change text is passed as an argument to the callback handler. Selection change as well. 100% file coverage, 5 minutes. All right, let's do text input bar. So one of the reasons why I'm doing this, where I'm defining the default props up here, so if this was a component, so it looked like this, and I'd have to check this because I don't know if this is the right order or not. But you can define default props just by doing this. There. And that's totally valid flow annotations. These actually take strings. This is actually a performance concern. I'm not going to tackle that at this moment because I'm just going to add a comment. A closure in line like this. This is actually a pretty expensive operation to do within a render method. And what you want to do is create this closure and attach it as a property to a component. Unfortunately, that requires refactoring. There's also something weird going on there because it looks like the state of the actual text is not interior to the text input bar. I think that maybe when you change the text, it's actually going back to the parent and the parent is passing it back in. Fix that as well. But that's for a later video. Control bar, this is a little bit more complicated of a component. I said in the previous video that some of this stuff was a mess, and this feels like it's a bit of a mess. Got this big long switch structure. You'll probably see me refactoring this later. Again, let's pull this stuff to the top. So right, we want to figure out why this is coming up. What I need to be doing here is having a direct access on props to satisfy ESLint. That's a bit of an issue, but it's probably a little bit much for ESLint to be interpreting that this actions is actually from props, which is actually defined up here. But to satisfy it, we're just going to insert props in there. Things that we're not even using. Let's get rid of that. All right, we're looking pretty good now. Okay, about 6 minutes. So the 5 simpler files. There's the larger files that we can do later, and we'll build up towards the editor, which will be the last one, and then this one just will be a matter of going back and checking to make sure that is covered by flow. I'll see you guys later.